Hey everyone, thanks for checking out another video. My name is Justin, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about a very guitar-friendly and very practical way of finding all the intervals. So an interval is basically just the distance between two notes. So if I played this and this, that's an interval. That's an interval. That's a distance between two notes. Or this, that's another interval. Or that's another interval. Basically, any distance between any two notes is an interval. And in music, we measure and label these different distances to help us better understand what's going on. So if I was playing a song and a chord on a chart said something like a flat 9 or a 13, those are two completely different intervals, and I'm really going to want to know what that means so I know how to play that. So the first step to understanding intervals is you have to place a numerical value on every note in your scale. So if we're in C major, our scale is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So we can take each of those notes and each of those letters and add a number to it. So C would be 1, D would be 2 or the second, E would be 3 or the third, F would be the fourth, G would be the fifth, A would be the sixth, B would be the seventh, and then we'd back to C, which would be our root again. Now the next step is the tricky part. Once we've established the numerical value of the interval, now we need to understand what the quality is. We need to figure that out, whether it's a major, whether it's a minor, a perfect, or a diminished, and have a really practical, guitar-friendly way of figuring that out. So if we go up 1/2 step, that's going to be C to D flat, that's going to be a minor second. Now it has to be a D flat and not a C sharp, because we've established that the 2 is a D note. It can't be a C sharp, that would be like a raised root. It has to be the next letter, it has to be the second letter in our numerical value, so it has to be a D flat rather than a C sharp. So 1/2 step would be C to D flat, that's going to be our minor second. 2/2 steps or a whole step, C to D, that's going to be our major second. So you do C to D, or you do 2 frets anywhere on the fretboard, and that's going to be a major second. All right, so C to D is our major second. So we're going to keep this going. Our next interval we need to find is our third. So we're going to have 3 frets, so that's going to be C to E flat, and that's a minor third. And then we're going to have C to E, which is 4 frets, and that's a major third. Okay, now again, this E flat, it has to be an E flat and not a D sharp, because a D sharp implies some kind of second, where we're looking for our third, which has to be C, D, E. So this note here has to be an E flat. So you have to make sure as you're counting up the half steps that you're keeping it lined up with the right letter that lines up with the numerical value that we had placed on it. So we have our minor second, our major second, our minor third, and our major third, all on the same string. So our next interval is going to be, it's called a perfect fourth, and that's going to be same fret on the next string down. And again, just like guitar, everything is movable. You can take this shape and play it anywhere on the neck, and it's going to be a perfect fourth. So you have C to F. That's our perfect fourth. You go up 1/2 step. Now we have what's called a tritone. This can be, it's usually called a flat 5, because the sharp 11 implies a different type of sound. But this would be a tritone, or a diminished 5, or a flat 5. And then you go up one more half step, and now you have our perfect fifth, which is just our power chord. So on the next string down, we've had our perfect fourth, our tritone, which would be a flat 5 typically, and then our perfect 5. So that would be C to F would be our perfect fourth, C to G flat would be our flat 5, and C to G would be our perfect fifth. So we keep it going. So our next interval would be the sixth, which would be the note A. So we have our perfect fifth here. We go up one more half step. Okay, that's an A flat. Again, not a G sharp, because a G sharp would imply a type of fifth. we need the sixth. So that would be an A flat, and that's a minor sixth. So that's 3 frets over, 1 string down is your minor sixth interval. And then you extend that over 1 more fret to A, and that's our major sixth. So 4 frets over, 1 string down is our major sixth, and that's C to A. So on our first string you did this on, we had our minor second, minor third, major third. The next string down covers our perfect fourth, our tritone, our perfect fifth, and then our minor and major sixth. The next interval we need is our seventh. So that's going to start with the same fret, but 2 strings down. And that's going to be B flat, because again, the letter has to be the 7th letter starting from C. So if you count up 7 from C, you would get B. So C to B, and that's a B flat. So C to B flat is our minor 7th. You raise that up 1 half step. So now it's 1 fret over, 2 strings down. That's our major 7th, which is B. And then you raise that 1 more half step. And that's your octave back to your root, and that's C. And so there you go. That's how you can find any interval on the neck. Now I know that might seem like a lot of information right now, but we're essentially just counting up 1 half step at a time on the right string, and you will get the right interval. When I was in school, people were counting up, they were trying to count like 11 half steps or something and all this stuff, and I would picture this when I had to find specific intervals, knowing my seconds and thirds were on the same string, my fourth, fifths, and sixths were on the next string, and my 7th was on 2 strings down. That was a really quick shortcut to figuring out whatever interval I was looking for. Now again, on guitar there's a million ways to play everything, so this is by no means the only way that these intervals line up. This was just a really useful reference chart for me when I needed to figure out what a specific interval was. So I hope this helps, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.